Tyron Woodley versus Leon Edwards takes place in the main event of UFC Fight Night 171 on ESPN Plus 29 London, and I can't wait for this fucking fight. Finally, Leon Edwards gets a chance to show what he's made of against a top-level opponent that may earn himself a title shot. He's had his main event with RDA in San Antonio, but that wasn't the biggest card in the world. Now he's got the spotlight in London, in his home country, represent the British proud. Please, Leon Edwards. I'm looking forward to this contest. You've got the champion who's coming off a long layoff, coming off hand surgeries, coming off a bad, humiliating loss to Kamaru Usman. It seems like his career is in the dust. Can he revitalise himself with a big win against a streaking contender and make his way back towards his world championship? We will find out. Leon Edwards, on the other hand, completely different situation that he's in. He's never seen the belt in his life. Okay, he's been on his direction towards the title. He's beaten every single person they've put in his way in his last 8 fucking fights. And I know that some boxing fans that are watching this in England right now are just, oh, the UFC's in London, let's check it out, let me see a prediction. 8 wins in a row means so much more than it does in boxing. I know you guys hear about 20-0 fighters, and that's just like, you can be 20-0 in boxing and be a bum. If you go 8-0 in any promotion, not even the UFC, you are a monster. Okay, I don't care who he's facing. And let's go through the record right now, because there have been some criticisms about the guys that he has faced in his career. He's 9-1 in his last 10 fights. He beats Let me say it something even better. He's 10-1 in his last 11 contests. Okay? He beat Seth Brzezinski, which you may remember from The Ultimate Fighter. Pirul Pawlak, which I've never heard of in my fucking life. He lost to Kamaru Usman, who's the fucking champion of the UFC. Okay? That's the only guy he's lost to in his last 11 fights. Then, he beat Dominic Waters, not a big name. Albert Tumenov, dangerous guy, beat the shit out of him. Vicente Luque, dangerous guy, beat the shit out of him. Maybe more dominantly than anyone has ever beat the shit out of Vicente Luque. Luque had some moments in that fight, don't get me wrong, but the majority of it was just Leon Edwards bullying him against the cage. Brian Barberena beat him as well. Destroyed him, and Brian Barberina's no slouch. Peter Sabota destroyed him, finished him as well. Donald Cerrone picked him apart for 5 rounds. Beat him. Beat Gunnar Nelson. It says by split decision, but I thought it was a clear win by Leon Edwards. Destroys him. RDA annihilates him. Picks him apart for 5 rounds. He's a monster. He really is. And it's only when you look at his record and really take into consideration the level of opponents that he's beaten in different times as well. This wasn't Donald Cerrone right now. If someone goes in there and beats Donald Cerrone now, after he's lost to McGregor, lost to Gaethje, 2 KOs in a row, now it's maybe time that the Cerrone win doesn't mean as much. But to beat him in 2018 by decision, you know, to not just go out there and smoke him, but to play Cerrone at his game and beat him, it means a lot. To beat Gunnar Nelson, to beat Rafael Dos Anjos, I think he's going to go out there and beat Tyron Woodley. So let's talk about the fight in general. Tyron Woodley likes to back himself into the cage. Leon Edwards loves to put guys against the cage. He loves guys against the cage. Okay? He loves picking them apart. Volume striker against the cage. What have we seen in Tyron Woodley's career that he doesn't like? When guys back him up to the cage, don't commit with shots. If they do commit with shots, they're Darren Till and they get finished. If they don't commit and they stay patient and they pick him apart, like Wonderboy, like Leon Edwards will do, like Rory McDonald did against the cage, combination punches, nothing behind them, just to make Tyron Woodley work, just to make Tyron Woodley think, not giving Woodley a big opening when you're winding up an overhand trying to KO him. Kelvin Gastelum did the same thing, light box into the face, making Woodley think. Don't give Woodley a big telegraphed shot that he can counter immediately, because he will be faster than you. I feel as though Leon Edwards is the perfect man to beat Tyron Woodley. However, and this is the however, Tyron Woodley can KO anyone. He can drop anyone. He hasn't KO'd anyone in a very long time, by the way. He hasn't KO'd anyone since Robbie Lawler. Let's just say that. But he can drop anyone at any time. And if you drop someone the way Tyron Woodley dropped someone, this ain't no like you get caught off balance and sent down. Woodley smacks people, and that's enough for a 10-8 round. Especially, and I do want to say this, if Woodley got those knockdowns in a war, they probably wouldn't be a 10-8 knockdown. But because Woodley gets those knockdowns in snooze fests, they are 10-8 round knockdowns. They just are. Because he'll be doing nothing the entire round, and in the change of intensity to now almost finishing someone, is madness to the judges, and they will say, oh shit, 10-8. You know what I mean? There's a level of intensity change when Woodley knocks these guys down in these boring ass fights compared to when there's a massive war going on and someone just gets dropped and gets back up. You know? So I think that plays into Woodley's favour. He's got 25 minutes to land on Leon Edwards, but here's what I want to talk about. If Leon Edwards goes out there and plays Woodley on the feet and tries to just stick and move, Woodley will survive until the 5th round. Woodley will have cardio in the 5th round, and Woodley will have 5-5-minute rounds to try and land one punch on you. Okay? That's what he will do. Woodley is terrible, but he has the one punch. Okay? If Leon Edwards goes out there, puts the pressure on Woodley in the first 2 rounds, makes Woodley engage with him, and maybe grapples and wrestles with Woodley in the first 2 rounds, he's going to gas out Woodley in those first 2. He's not going to play the patience game. And Woodley is not going to have the same power in that 3rd, 4th and 5th round that he did against Wonderboy. You know? That he did against Maya. The threat was still there. In Usman's fight, Usman put the pressure on him, pushed him up against the cage, grappled with him, made Woodley work, and Woodley didn't have that power in those later rounds, and then Usman just started to bully him. If Leon Edwards can go out there and clinch Woodley against the cage, which Woodley will probably accept, and grapple with Woodley. Leon Edwards, if you are even losing the grappling in the first 2 rounds to Woodley, it shouldn't matter because Woodley is now working. Okay? If Woodley is forced to grapple with you, even if you are losing the grappling situation, Woodley is now using a lot of energy. He cannot help himself. He's a very explosive man, which is why he doesn't use a lot of wrestling in his fights. Because he doesn't have to. If he just waits and waits for that one perfect shot when you're tired in the later rounds, he's going to catch you. He doesn't want to exert all this energy for something that might not get him a finish. He knows the right hand will get him a finish. So he's going to wait for that the entire time. If Leon Edwards goes out there and clinches Woodley against the cage, which he can do because he's a much taller guy, taller men have a much bigger advantage in the clinch, especially with guys who have elbows in the clinch like Leon Edwards, who are a master of the clinch like Leon Edwards. I feel like he could go out there, push Woodley against the cage and just make him work in the grappling for 2 boring rounds of nothingness grappling, but Woodley will work in those minutes. He will work for that 10 minutes. And then in the 3rd, 4th and 5th round, that's when we're going to see Leon Edwards start picking him apart on the feet. And I feel like Leon Edwards is going to get a shutout performance. The only way Woodley wins is to rock Leon Edwards enough times to get 2 10-8 rounds. Or just to KO him and submit him. Like, Woodley has to get a finish or land enough big knockdown blows to score himself enough 10-8 rounds. I am from England. I will acknowledge that there are some hometown biases with England. I will also acknowledge this. Regardless of England, or regardless of where the hometown is, there is a little bit of a... There's a little bit of a bias with the judging, where there's an older guy who's on his way out and a younger guy on his way up. I really do think that, because a lot of people are riding on Leon Edwards winning this fight, including those judges, including the UFC. They want turnover in their division. They don't want to stick around with Woodley because he's very difficult to work with. I feel as though if this goes to a decision, it's going to be stacked against Tyron Woodley, and I don't see him getting a finish on Leon Edwards. I really don't. He could KO Leon Edwards, don't get me wrong. He has that chance. I just don't see it being a big enough chance for me to put my prediction on Woodley. I'm picking Leon Edwards to win. I think he's got the range, which is equal to Woodley's, but... You know, Woodley had a longer reach advantage than fucking Darren Till, and Darren Till's a giant and now at middleweight. That should tell you enough about Tyron Woodley. And I think that Leon Edwards can do what Jake Shields did, what Rory McDonald did, but just do it at a much better level, and at a level where a guy is 8-0 in his last 8 fights in the UFC. Leon Edwards will get the job done. The clinches, the elbows in the clinch are going to work an absolute treat because Woodley puts himself against the cage, which means he will not be able to move out of the way of those elbows. We saw that in the Nate Marquardt fight. Leon Edwards. Here's the game plan. We're in the battle room right now, me and Leon Edwards. Let's talk about the fight, Leon Edwards. He's a pussy. Okay, Leon, let me talk, Leon. Go in there, grapple with Woodley for 2 rounds. Even if you lose those 2 rounds of grappling, grapple with Woodley for 2 rounds. Try and win those 2 rounds of grappling, okay? Try and do it. Then go out there in the 3rd, now that Woodley has worked a ton on the grappling that you have now put on him, and know that you will now break down Tyron Woodley with your lackadaisical, volume style of striking where you're not putting everything into every punch, and just keep a jab in Woodley's face against the cage and don't load up for anything big. Use your front kicks, use your leg kicks, use your jabs and your twos. Nothing else. Elbows in the clinch, no hooks, no haymakers, no lead lunging hooks, no body shots, unless they're front kicks. I want to see you just volume Woodley against the cage and only go to the body if you've gone to the head first. I think Leon Edwards has got this one in the bag. I think he's educated enough to do so. I think he's okay enough with a boring fight to do so, because Leon Edwards, if there's one thing that he's not, that's a crowd pleaser, especially the casual fans. The hardcore fans love watching Leon Edwards because it's a work of art what he does in there with those elbows. Either way, he will not succumb to the crowd booing if this is a boring contest. Leon Edwards knows what he has to do, and people have booed him hundreds of times in his career. They were booing during the RDA fight. They were booing during the Vicente Luque fight. They were booing during the Gunnar Nelson fight. He will get the job done. I think Leon Edwards will win this fight. I think he'll win it in impressive enough fashion. And I think he'll get the Masvidal fight next. Hey, Masvidal's a weasel and he doesn't want the fight to happen. That's what's going to happen next. He's going to get on the mic. He's going to say that exact statement that I just did. And he's going to get the fight. And if it's Kamaru Usman who wins the Masvidal fight, Edwards is going to be in a little bit of trouble. But if I was Leon Edwards, I would call out both. Okay? Don't put all your eggs on Jorge Masvidal beating Kamaru Usman, because if you get on the microphone and you call out Jorge Masvidal, you're going to be in trouble. So make sure in your post-fight speech, if you are to win this battle, which I think that you will, call out the champion as well. Have two different sound bites for two different outcomes of the future. Okay? And if Tyron Woodley wins this fight, which he very well could, he ain't getting a title fight either, and we're going to be seeing Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington. And even if Leon Edwards wins and Tyron Woodley loses, we will still see Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington. Okay? Do you understand? I wouldn't even be surprised if Colby Covington was in the fucking crowd this weekend. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great fight. I just think that Leon Edwards is going to get the job done, to be honest with you. I really do. I think he's got it. It's a sign of the times with Tyron Woodley. He may have been on his last few years, over the past few years. 37 years of age. I just can't do it, man. I can't predict him to win. He's gonna be 38 soon. He's not looking in the same shape. He's not seeming the same dedicated person that he once was. He says things that really do annoy me sometimes. Like, he says things like he's fixing problems, but he's actually acknowledging problems by doing so. He'll say something like, I've put all that shit to the side, now I'm in training camp. I get that, Woodley. You're proving to us that you're now focused on fighting for the training camp. Leon Edwards is not making music outside of training camp. I would be surprised if Leon Edwards even has training camps. He's in that stage of his career where he just keeps fighting and keeps winning. I doubt he's left training camp since his last loss. I really do. I think he stayed in the gym. He's going to get the job done. They're at two different parts of their career. And Woodley is raising a ton of flags for me. In terms of the stuff that he's saying, the interviews that I've seen, the shape that I've seen him in, him talking about his hand. He mentioned once it still wasn't 100%, but he's still punching with it. I think he was just whining and trying to make excuses. But either way, you know how Woodley is. Fucking annoying little fucking bitch, sissy cunt. But I think he's going to lose. Too many red flags. 37 years of age. Explosiveness going to start to go down a little bit. He could catch Leon Edwards on the chin. I'm not willing to say that's going to happen. I'm going to pick Leon Edwards to win the fight, and I think he'll get it done. Good job, Leon Edwards. Thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe. Click that button there. I'll see you later. And hopefully my boy Leon Edwards gets the job done. Because he's never tapped in his life, as he will tell you over and over again. Never tapped in my life. Never tapped in my life. He will tell you that over and over again. Yeah, never tapped in my life. He will do it over and over again. I don't know why his voice is the way that it is, but it's worrying. It really is worrying. He won't be a superstar. And I've already outroed this fucking video, but he just can't be a superstar with a voice like that. And it sucks that that's the way the world works, but you can't sound like that being a world championship fighter. Am I wrong here? Am I wrong? I think it's unfair that we do this, but you can't sound like that. I'm sorry. It doesn't associate with high-level fighter. You know what I mean? He's a weasel and a pussy and the fight's no. He doesn't want the fight to happen, so there's no fight, Ariel. It's just, you can't sound like that. You know? You can't sound like that and be feared by someone. It just doesn't add up. But I'm rooting for him either way. Do us proud. I know you're from Birmingham, so no one likes you, but good luck. Do England proud. Leon Edwards, my man. Click that button there. See you later. Edwards by decision. He'll get the job done. Goodbye.